Hey, how you doing? It's your boy BrogiNaric. Back again with another review. Got my boy Crispy Man with me, and we're going to be doing a review of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, which recently dropped in theaters and on HBO Max. And we saw it in theaters. We risked the pandemic to go see this movie because that's how excited I was to see this. And before we get into it, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Crispy Man, let the people know where they can find you, though.
I'm Quispy Man everywhere, CWISPY_MA, two N's. That's YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and that's it.
There you go.
Oh, and Twitch.
Yeah, and Twitch. And
when I'm on it.
Yeah, when you're on it, right. So we're gonna go non-spoilers for a little bit, and then we're gonna just go into full spoilers. A spoiler, this is a non-spoiler. I would say is this is a fucking awesome movie, just off the bat. Just a fucking awesome movie.
I thought you were getting ready to go. We're start with non-spoilers and then go into spoilers. So spoilers.
Spoilers. Right. They'll be in the timestamps in the description. But this was my most anticipated movie of 2021, and it didn't disappoint. This is one of those rare occasions where the concept and the right people were working on this project to make something truly interesting and pretty unique, I would say, because they did a great job handling this from beginning to end, I would say.
Right. I think they gave James Gunn as much creative freedom as he needed to actually do what he wanted with the characters and tell a compelling story, and certainly something that stands out against the DC cinematic universe backdrop that we have so far.
I would say that, and like the whole superhero movie genre in general. I think this is another one of those big, unique films. Like he did it. He nailed it. I was kind of treating this a little bit like I did with Shazam, where I was more for this movie than I was Shazam initially, but it was one of those things like the more I saw from it, the more I heard people talk about it, the more I was like, this might be fucking great. And I would say this is my favorite film, definitely of the recent DC movies. And might be my favorite movie of the year so far. But yeah, really good. So the plot is basically you have this group, the government has this secret group called Task Force X. They get various convicted supervillains to go on these crazy missions. And if they survive and complete the missions, they'll knock some years off their sentence. And they have bombs in the base of their skulls to keep them in check. And this one is a big team. This is like the biggest team of the squad we've seen I wouldn't say any incarnation, but usually you don't see a team quite this big when it involves the Suicide Squad. And they have to go on this mission to stop this corrupt government in this South American country. And that's essentially what they're going on, and shit just goes crazy. And great time. That's a great time. I will say it is. I will say it is rated R, and it earns its R rating. It really does earn that R rating. I didn't think it was too. Well, it was gratuitous, but I think it fit. And to me, at least, it definitely fit the subject matter. I would say, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. Generally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of violence or gore.
Right.
But I do kind of like violence and gore, again, with the superhero aesthetic. It's kind of the same reason you would watch The Boys or be super into Invincible.
Yeah.
It's the idea of like, oh, superpowers are violent. They can be very violent. This movie proves that.
Yes. That's a good way. I didn't even think of that, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, The Boys is a good example. Logan is another good example. Deadpool. Yeah. It's definitely in that vein, and it works. I don't think it goes overboard. Well, I guess you can make an argument that it goes overboard. I will say, because that might be some people's problem with it. It's like it's a little too violent. I wasn't bothered by it. I did like the intensity of the fight scenes. There's a lot of moments where you're like, ooh, like damn, people are getting fucked up.
Yeah,
both on the good guys and bad guys sides or whatever. But yeah, really good. What else can we say? Soundtrack was dope. Special effects were good. King Shark I thought looked pretty good throughout most of it. The action is really good. The music, cinematography, This is a damn good movie.
Returning cast are good, as
Oh
well
yeah,
as the cast that are introduced. Not going into too much spoiler territory here, but you and I were both raving about Idris Elba. He's fantastic in this.
yeah, he's great. Idris Elba is great. We'll get more than that in the spoilers. Who else? Cena's really good. I was happy that Cena didn't botch this because I was like, a lot of people were saying he was really good. I was like, ooh, he might fuck this up, but he did great with this role. I thought he did very well. Looking forward to the Peacemaker show. The what's her name? Ratcatcher 2 was really good, played by
Yes.
Daniela Melchior. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Melicoir. I don't know, but she was good.
You'll put it somewhere on screen.
I guess whatever. Look it up. She was good, and dude that played Polka Dot Man was really good too. He was funny. What's his name? Dennis.
David Dastmalchian.
David. Yep, that's it. He was really good too. But other than that, yeah, Stallone as the voice of King Shark was good. Yeah, so that's about it for non-spoilers. If you were to give it a grade, what would you give it, Crispy?
It's really tough because it's been so long since I got to sit in a theater and watch a movie. So maybe I'm just being very generous here. I would probably give it like a 9.
9? Okay, I can see that.
Not perfect.
Yeah.
But damn near close.
Yeah.
Certainly top tier for DC Cinematic Universe.
Hell yeah, definitely.
I don't know if I don't think I've given any DC movie
that high of a grade. Yeah, I agree.
So.
And that says a lot. Shazam was my number 1 out of the recent films, and by recent I mean everything after Dark Knight Rises.
Right.
For me, this is now my new number 1. And I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. This was fucking awesome. I loved it. I really did.
Yeah.
Cast, like I said, the costumes, like the way they handled a lot of the little Easter eggs were cool. Nothing too major, but like definitely you can tell they were made by someone who knows DC, which I thought was cool. Yeah, so I would give it a 10 out of 10, an A, or even an A+. But yeah, that would be my grade. So that's it for non-spoilers. We're just going to get right into spoilers right now. So let's talk about the theater experience. What did you think about being back in theaters?
So this is the second time I've been back in theaters.
Right.
Went and saw a smaller thing. I went and saw Bo Burnham's Inside when they released it in theaters. That's Amanda and I did. It was nice then, but the theater experience at that time was not great because I guess after a year and a half of not going to theaters, no one gave a shit about not talking.
Oh, okay.
So this was just beyond an improvement as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, wasn't a lot of people because we specifically chose that theater because we knew it wouldn't be a lot of people. So, which is what I wanted. Yeah,
there were maybe 15 of us in that room entirely.
I would say 10, but could have been 15.
Even then, people who were talking, you could barely hear them.
You could barely hear anyone. I think we were the loudest people in the theater.
Probably.
So we were laughing our asses off at certain things.
Yeah.
The one thing that has not changed is goddamn trailers. I fucking hate them. There was at least a good damn near 20 minutes of fucking trailers. I'm waiting to see this movie. Nothing but trailers. That annoyed the shit out of me.
I don't miss that.
I don't miss that. It was clean, so that was nice. So yeah, that's the theater experience. So let's get into this fucking movie. One thing that what you say?
It's gory.
Gory, yeah.
It is from 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
2 minutes in, and Pete Davidson's face goes clean off.
His face is gone. Because I was a little confused what was going on, but I like how they were like, oh, he tried to sell them out. I'm like, I don't know how he did that, but that's what he did. Okay.
Right.
Face cleaned the fuck off. Everybody else is getting shot. That whole opening, I remember James Gunn said he compared this in the style of a war film, and that opening sequence definitely has that war film vibe.
Yeah, it feels like Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah, them storming the beach of Normandy. Yeah, really good. I love You said the gore. I was gonna say I don't even know what I was gonna say when I was gonna start. Oh, the thing I wasn't expecting that I liked that they did was the time jumps and the little like title card stuff throughout the film, which was very reminiscent of what he did in Super. You ever seen the movie Super? Yeah. He did that a little bit like towards the end of the film, where there would be like random writing on the movie. I like how they did that throughout the film. Like, okay, this is this, but then let's go 3 days earlier. Okay, now this is this, but let's go 8 minutes before this happened. Or this is, like, hey, what was the bit where they had it? It was like, okay, let's finish the mission. What was it? Operation Jotunheim, I think it was.
What was it called?
Was it Jotunheim or Jagan?
I think it is. I think it is Jotunheim.
Was it Jotunheim? Okay, it was Operation Jotunheim, and then Rick Flair's like, no, we got to do something else first, and then it changes to Operation Harley. Like
Harley.
Yeah, stuff like that. I liked. Or Meanwhile with Harley, and it was like in the roots and all of that. Like I like that. That was that storytelling vibe. I kind of liked how they handled that.
Right.
Okay, so the cast, my God, they all did amazing. So we were talking about, at least I was mentioning, like, it's hard for me to pick my favorite, but I think my favorite is Idris Elba's Bloodsport. I mean,
yes,
he was dope. But like everybody I liked in this movie, even the people at the beginning that barely had any screen time, I still like them.
Yeah,
it's crazy for this big cast, and like not a single character I hated. Even the bad guys I like too, like as bad guys at least. You know what I'm saying? Or
right.
The main bad guys,
right? Because they're kind of they're set up as the main bad guys, and then obviously turns out that they're throwaway. Villain.
Yeah, at least two of them. Yeah.
But even when they're on screen, they feel kind of like throwaway villains.
Yeah, they didn't seem too unimportant. I would say I thought they were they fit the role that they had. But the cast is really good. John Cena, like I said, John Cena surprised me. He was good. The one thing I will say about Peacemaker that I liked is I remember when he said he was playing a fucked up version of Captain America, and I was like, okay, this can go either way. But I thought they did a better version of Peacemaker as a fucked up version of Captain America, as opposed to U.S. Agent in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Because when it gets to that moment towards the end where it's Flag versus Peacemaker, and they're two sides of the same coin, and him willing to do whatever he could just for the protection of America, whether it's good or bad, I thought that was a better characterization of what I was expecting from U.S. Agent, but they ultimately were like, let's kind of get away from that by the end of it.
So let's gray it up a bit.
Right, yeah. And I kind of like that they made a distinct, like, he's going to do whatever he can for peace, which I thought is great how they set that up. And I love the duality between Bloodsport and Peacemaker, which that was a funny joke where when Amanda Waller is like, oh, this guy he's a natural born leader. He can anything in his hand is a weapon, and he was trained by his father to be the deadly assassin. Yeah. She's talking about Bloodsport, and then literally like 2 seconds, like 3 seconds later, when she introduces him to Peacemaker, she's like, oh, this guy is a
put anything in his hand.
Yeah.
It's a weapon.
He's a natural. Yeah, his father trained him to be a deadly assassin, and he's like, "Wait, are you fucking shitting me?" And it was like, "No, wait, they're the same. They're the same." I thought that was great.
Didn't Peacemaker basically say like, "I'm you, but better"? Yeah,
and their whole tit for tat of them trying to one up each other, I thought was great. And they both have gadgets, and that they pull out of their ass and shoot people. And I like how the whole Peacemaker was like, I use smaller bullets, which can go through your bullet holes, which make me better, and all that. How that came back in the end, that was good. That was good. Like I said, the story structure was really cool. I don't know if they're necessarily cameos, but the A-Team, how they all got dispatched once again, fucking just wild. The bit with they're on the plane, and I like the camaraderie between the characters from the previous movie, like Flag, Harley, and Boomer. Like, you kind of get a sense like this isn't... They've done other missions before this one, and they've kind of just gotten used to each other. And And then the whole bit with Weasel, and he's like hyperventilating, and they're like, "Is this a werewolf? Like, what the fuck is going on?" And
shit, you put me next to a werewolf.
yeah, that was great with Pete Davidson. He's like, "No, he's agreed to help us." I think he has, but anyway, I think. And another thing that I like was the supporting cast, which I just realized they had enough character moments, because I'm pretty sure most of them are popping back up in the Peacemaker show.
Yeah, and, at least AG.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I like that whole bit where they're doing like an office poll, like an office like gambling, or like
the Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool. Yeah, like who's gonna die first type shit. Like that was funny, and that was hilarious. And I love the fact that no one died for no reason, like in the first movie, in terms of like the office staff, which still makes no sense. Which I guess we can talk about. Like, there's a number of scenes that are very similar to the first one, but are better.
Right.
Like, it's insane. Like, it's like I said, her working with the staff is in the first movie, and it's better. There's that scene.
The staff are actually characters in this movie. They're not just people in a room who can be shot.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't care. Because you've seen the last movie, you know that she could do that. Like, this movie, they introduce the characters, they give them names and actual personalities, and you may not care if they die, but at least it's more than just that's guy sitting on computer.
Yeah, true. There's the scene where they're hanging out at the nightclub and they're talking and kind of relating to each other, which was really way more impactful than it was in that movie where they're just at the bar and they're all ready to give up scene. The scene went on the bus, and Ratcatcher 2 has her flashback, and Bloodsport tells his thing about his fear of rats. Like, that was all good shit. It's just more, the heart is more there. Like, I feel more for these characters. I think this movie, I will say, did enough to differentiate between Bloodsport and Deadshot. Because you can kind of, remember there was that confusion where we weren't sure if Idris Elba
was recast.
Yeah, he was recasting as Will Smith, and then for a while, a lot of people, and me included, thought he was going to be playing Bronze Tiger, and then it was like, no, he's Bloodsport, and I'm like, I don't know who the fuck that is, but then when I looked it up, I was like, I've seen that character.
Like, oh, Deadshot.
Yeah, right. I'm like, okay, so this is still Deadshot, and he kind of is.
He's got a similar story.
Yes.
I mean, still like single dad, daughter is in trouble, or being threatened.
Yeah.
Do this or we kill her or put her in prison.
Which I thought that was very good motivation. It's like his daughter stole something, and Man the Wall is like, hey, if you don't do this mission in Louisiana, she could be tried as an adult and she could end up in the same prison. And, I know you don't want that to happen. So I thought that was really good motivation, at least for him to go through with it. Everyone else's motivations was a little different, but you don't necessarily need to know what it is, but the main guy's motivation you should know.
Right.
And what else was I saying? The other thing that this movie did, I like the costumes. All the costumes I really enjoyed. The other movie I know won an Oscar for costumes, and there's very few costumes in that movie that I do like, but in this one I love all the designs. I thought were really cool, including the big monster at the end, Starro. I thought all looked really cool.
It's very comic booky without being, I want to say without being silly, but it is kind of silly, but the movie the movie kind of addresses that it's a little silly.
Yeah.
Like Javelin looks ridiculous.
Yeah, Javelin. I forgot about that. Yeah, Javelin. Yeah. That was a funny bit where he dies and he's telling Harley, take the javelin because you're supposed to, and then he trails off and Harley's looking at him and she's like slapping him to wake up, like, what am I supposed to do? And he's fucking dead. Like, that was good. And I like how that came back and she kept the javelin and all of that. That was fun. That was fun stuff. Like I said, they did funny shit. The bit with the bit with what was it, TKD, the detachable kid, with TKD, Jason Nathan Fillion's character, and he's like, his arms detach and then they float and that's all. Like, that's all they do.
Really slow, and they're just
slowly floating, and he's just smacking
people around.
Not even punching them, he's just smacking them.
Yeah.
And they shot up his arms, and he can still feel the pain, and he's on the ground with no arms. Like, oh shit, my arms are getting shot up. Oh my god, that shit was wild. Boomerang, he got hit by like shrapnel, bunch of wood shrapnel and shit. Just got him.
Yeah, like eviscerated him.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Mongal got set on fire, which I'm pretty sure she's fireproof, but okay.
I think though there was kind of a throwaway line that she's Mongal, but they were like she's maybe alien.
Yeah, it was like she's like she's either an alien or a god. We don't know, so they kind of kept it vague. Weasel was. Oh yeah,
so it could easily be like she's just a crazy person.
Yeah, potentially. Weasel was funny that he was the first one to apparently die because he can't swim. So when they jump in the water, he just fucking drowns. And they're like, did you check? That was funny. I like how the team is like, we just got these random people, but they don't really do that well of a background check on them. It's like, did you check if he can swim? Did you check if this guy has a fear of rats? Why would you put him on a team with someone who just exclusively works with rats? Like, that would have been, if it was me, it would have been Spider Catcher 2, and I would have fucking died because I can't do spiders, and that would have been me. Yeah, so
could you imagine that scene at the end of the movie with
fuck no,
a billion spiders?
Fuck, I would have walked out of the. I would have been gone from the theater, but like no, fuck that, hell no. But anyway, and that was a good dynamic between her and Ratcatcher 2 and Bloodsport. I like that. What did you think of what were we saying? But yeah, all the other people dying on the beach, and the bit with Savant was cool. But yeah, and I liked how that was a distraction for the other team to sneak in to do the real mission, which I thought was kind of ruthless as well of Amanda Waller to just set all of those people up to get killed. Even
Rick Flag.
I was about to say, even Rick Flag.
I mentioned in the theater, I was like, it's weird that she was willing to assume that he wouldn't die.
Yeah, but I mean, she knows he's skilled, so I guess she got a little lucky on that one.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of King Shark? That's another. He's the Groot of the film.
I was like, he is definitely the Groot with maybe a slightly bigger vocabulary.
Oh yeah, definitely a bigger vocabulary. He speaks Spanish. Like, it's definitely a bigger vocabulary.
He does speak some Spanish,
which was great. How did you felt about this version of King Shark?
I like him. So far, I haven't seen like a version of King Shark that I don't like.
Yeah.
I suppose, but it's not a whole lot of version. Actually, there's more out there than I guess.
Yeah, you got the Flash, you got the Harley Quinn show.
And the Harley Quinn show, you got the one coming up in the game. You got this one. You got the one from Escape from Arkham. That movie.
Oh yeah. I just saw it on Arkham. I just watched that. I watched the Assault on Arkham. I went back and watched the first Suicide Squad movie. I didn't go back and watch Hell to Pay, but I did like that too. And Assault on Arkham was amazing depiction of the Suicide Squad. It was my favorite until I saw this movie, and this would be like my new favorite. Although the Task Force X episode in Justice League Unlimited is also really good too. So, but yeah, King Shark was cool. I liked the whole Ratcatcher 2 befriending him. Also, him being an animal and her knowing she can be friendly with animals. I thought that was kind of cool how they did that. Because that was pretty fucked up when he was about to eat her. And she was like asleep. Like, she was asleep though. Like, I like that whole bit where she's like always tired. And that was a funny scene, especially when Cena's there in his tighty whities. that was funny. That shit was funny. He was like, why are you in your tighty whities? Okay, that's racist.
That's racist.
I was like, that's racist. I was like, this is great. And you called it when they were sneaking into the little base, and you were like, those are the resistance fighters that they're killing.
Yeah.
That probably was the one scene I had a little trouble with, just because of the damn that. I had a little trouble with because just the way it was shot, and it was like killing all these people.
They were killing people, and then they would turn the camera and be like, well, those people right there clearly just watched you do that.
Literally like 2 feet away from that. Yeah, like how did they not react to that? That was a weird how that was shot. That kind of bugged me a little bit, but it didn't ruin the movie, but I just thought that was a little odd how they shot that. It's like you just sliced that guy's throat, and literally like 2 feet away is a lady washing her clothes, and she didn't see that. Like what the
or
fuck?
hair.
Yeah. Um, speaking of which, there is some nudity in this. I mean, it's rated R, which I wasn't
Very
too
slight.
but there was that scene where that guy got shot and he had his dick out, right? Wasn't that what it
Oh
was?
yeah,
Yeah,
he
it was
did.
just like he just got shot in the head. I was like, oh, okay, and I was not expecting that. But yeah, that was a funny scene when they were both one upping each other, and he was like, what was the thing he said? He was like, oh, just
Yeah, I was trying to think of
he shot him with the bullet, but the guy didn't die. He was like, "Oh, it's non-lethal. That doesn't count." And then he was like, "Wait, it's like an explosive compression bullet." And then the guy explodes. And there was something he said. He's like,
awesome as fuck.
Yeah, he was like, if you do something but make it more awesome, then it's better or something like that. And then Bloodsport was like, "Fuck, he's right." He's like, "God damn it!" He's like, "Damn it, it is." So yeah, that was great. That was pretty fucked up though. I felt kind of bad for that lady who had to keep working with them after they just killed her whole squad. I thought that was a little fucked up.
I'm surprised there was no conflict there.
Yeah, she just was like, you know what? If I gotta go through with this shit, I guess I'll just work with you guys. Because she's a freedom fighter trying to free her people who were being overrun by this corrupted government. Which they do explain, like the government before them wasn't great, but they weren't they weren't threats to America like they were going to be now, because they're on this mission to shut down this facility, this stone building, and they had different origins for it. Because they said the guy said the Nazis built it, and then they found this alien, and they've been experimenting on it for like 30 years. But of course, you find out that the Americans were the ones who brought it. So I don't, this is a little. I'm not sure who was telling the truth on that one.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Maybe, yeah, could be. I'm trying to figure out. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, from what I understand, they said that the facility itself was built by Nazis, and then once the original ruling family found out, they had all the Nazis
got them out of there. Yeah, that's right.
And then when the Americans found Starro, they hid him there.
Right, because they couldn't test him
on the original.
Yeah. They didn't want to test him on American soil. Yeah, okay, that's right. You're right about that. There we go.
So it was a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. That's right. I'm trying to remember the guy's name that was like the leader, like the handsome guy that was like the new leader of the country.
Something Luna. It was Presidente Luna.
Presidente Luna. Okay. Yeah.
I can't remember his first name, but I remember it was Luna.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's right. It was Luna. That bit with him and Harley was amazing.
Yeah,
I want to say I'm on record for saying I was not a fan, especially after Birds of Prey. I was not a fan of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. She has the right look. I didn't think she had ever had the right material or jokes or stuff to really make it feel like a Harley Quinn that I know and love. That changes with this movie. Because Margot Robbie was great in this role. She looked great. The design they gave her with the red and black, not red and blue, not red and blue and pink and yellow and whatever the fuck she was wearing in Birds of Prey. She was wearing red and black. It looked awesome. And she had some great action sequences. And she's not in the movie a hell of a lot, but I like how she was used in this film. Because this is definitely more of an ensemble as opposed to a one-person focused movie as much as the first one, you know what I'm saying? Or at least the ensemble cast gets more to do than they did in the previous film, I would say.
It helps that over the course of the film, obviously, they're picking off members of the ensemble cast as well.
Yes. Yes. And then you get your core group, which I think was a solid group. You had it was Flag, Bloodsport, Peacemaker, Ratcatcher 2, Polka Dot Man, King Shark. Did I say Harley? And Harley.
You did, yeah.
And Harley, and that was like your main hardcore team. And I guess kind of the thinker a little bit, but and Milton. We can't forget Milton.
Don't forget Milton.
Don't forget Milton, like they did.
I love Milton.
But yeah, so Harley Quinn, she gets captured. They don't kill her, and then the president wants her to come to his place. He gives her this fancy dress. And she's like, "Oh, I look like a princess." The president is this handsome guy, and he's like, "Hey, I'm the president, but I'm a bachelor, and my people would feel better if I had like a first lady." And for some reason, I want Harley Quinn to be my first lady because you are like a symbol of rebellion, standing against the American ideal and all that. I'm like, I don't think that's what Harley Quinn stands for, but I guess to an international audience, you could say that. Like if people who don't live in Gotham and around the world were like, yeah, she's a rebel. Fuck the establishment, Let's gas those people at that fair or whatever. It's like, but that was a little odd. But it was like, okay, so they're talking, and then they end up banging. They had that moment where she's like, they're doing all this stuff, which for a second I wasn't sure if that was actually happening until it's like, oh, they were doing all that stuff. So they're hanging out, they bang, and he was like, I wasn't excited about this, but I think after spending this short amount of time, which probably was a day, he's like, I think I can make this work. And he mentions the facility. And that's when he does the thing where he explains the thing about the Nazis and then the Americans coming in.
Right.
And
starts
a monologue, and he's saying there was a beast there. I didn't think it was real, but I just found out earlier that beast does exist, and it's been used to torture people, especially people who were against the previous regime, political threats and all of that, people's children and all of that. And he's like, I'm going to use that beast to make my country... do the same, basically. I'm going to torture people and make sure the superpowers acknowledge our country. And
kill children.
Yeah, and I'm going to kill some children if I have to. I'm going to do whatever I have to in order to be taken seriously. And then he turns around, and they're in this room, all these different antiques and shit. They were just banging and knocking shit over. She turns around, she's got this like old-fashioned gun from like the 1800s, and just bam, shoots him. And she just shoots him dead. Shoots him dead. And she has this monologue where she's like, I've been in these past relationships where things have gone wrong. I've been tortured and da-da-da. And I made a note to myself that if I ever see a red flag, I'm going to get out of that situation by the best way I know possible, which is killing that person. And apparently, killing a bunch of kids sounds like a red flag. So I got to get you out of here. And then she also mentions like, but it's good. Like, you look peaceful. Like, she's looking at his body. And
I like you like this.
Yeah.
With no evil thoughts in your head.
Exactly. That's when you get to the psychotic side of Harley Quinn, because she thinks she's doing the right thing. And
I guess technically she is.
Yes.
But for a different reason.
For a different reason, but you're not wrong. Yes, in her twisted way, she is doing the right thing, but the way she went about it was a little extreme. And it was the funny bit also behind that was when she was holding that gun, and she's like, I can't believe this was loaded.
Yeah. It's loaded.
I thought that was great. She's like, I can't believe this freaking thing was loaded. So she gets recaptured, and she's getting tortured, which I like that they couldn't break her because she's been through a lot of shit. And I like the bit where when Flag realizes she's still alive, he's like, hey, we got to go save her.
Right.
He's like, we're not leaving anyone behind, and she's a friend, I guess, so she was a part of his team as well. So he's like, I'm not leaving her behind. And you get to see when they go into the nightclub, because they know the Thinker is there, because the Thinker works with the government. He's been there for 30 years testing this beast that they have, and he's been experimenting on it. And they meet up at this nightclub to go take him out. That moment with, like I said, when they're hanging at the bar is great. We get that moment where we okay, let's get to it. Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Yes.
Insanity. When they first said Polka Dot Man was going to be in this movie, I'm like, what the fuck? But then I laughed because I'm like, yeah, James Gunn would pick a random ass character like that. I was not expecting to like Polka Dot Man as much as I did.
Right.
Polka Dot Man was great. Might be like my second to third favorite, probably my third favorite character in this film. He is amazing.
Yes, I'd say he might be like my second favorite.
Yeah. So in the comics, he's got like a suit, and the polka dots he can take off, and each different color does like a different thing. Yeah. And they explain it far more interesting. He was experimented on as a kid by his mom, who was a scientist, who did these terrible experiments on her children in order for them to be superheroes. So he says, and he has a death wish, but he also hates his mom. He like hates his mom.
And they name drop Star Labs.
Yeah, name drop. Yeah, his mom worked at Star Labs, and so now he was infected by a alien virus, right?
Yeah, an interdimensional virus.
Interdimensional. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and so he's like overloaded with this energy, which looks like these weird like polka dot like tumors that glow. And he says like twice a day he has to access that energy or he explodes, right? Was that it?
He'll explode because apparently at least some of his siblings have also died.
Yeah, some of them have died and some of them became superheroes. I don't know who they are, but I don't know if we'll ever see them. Who knows?
Yeah, I was like, we'll get Polka Dot Man and or woman in another movie.
Potentially, I could see that. So when that moment when they're sleeping and he's glowing and the tomb, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And once they explain it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. So basically his polka dots are kind of like weird, like acid, like devices, basically. And he enjoys killing, excuse me, but it's easier. He doesn't like killing, but it's easier for him to kill when he sees his mom. And that's the joke. Every person he sees looks like his mom. And that shit was like the first time they did it, it was kind of like, oh, okay. Like it was weird, but it was like kind of funny. But the more they did it, it just got funnier for me. Especially when he's in the club dancing. He's on the dance floor, and then you see it from his perspective, and everyone looks like his mom on the dance floor. That was the best. That was so funny. And then, of course, the bit towards the end where when Bloodsport motivates him to fight Starro, and he's like, "What is that?" He's like,
mom.
"It's your mom." And he looks at his mom breaking the building. We were dying on that part. That was that shit had me crying. Like, cause I thought they were gonna make it like his mom in the shape of Starro, but it was literally just his mom as a giant, just breaking shit. That shit was great.
Of course, that's also the scene immediately afterwards that he gets crushed.
Yo, yeah. They were not afraid to kill. They killed a lot of people in this film.
Yeah.
And I was expecting at least one other character to survive, which would be Rick Flag. But they got a lot of people to fuck up out of here, which I respect because the Suicide Squad should be there should be a lot of death when the team goes out, in my opinion, just to get the seriousness of what the fuck is going on, with this whole thing. But yeah, the action, like I said, the action was dope when Harley breaks out of the facility and she's like shooting everyone and like she's imagining the flowers where the blood is coming out. I thought was kind of unique. It was another fight scene that I really enjoyed. Well, I guess Flag and Peacemaker was a good fight scene.
It's a good fight scene, especially the where Peacemaker's helmet was on the ground.
Oh yeah, you see the fight reflected in the helmet.
You're watching their fight. I thought they were gonna do most of the fight scene that way.
Yeah. Them storming that whole facility was really, really fucking great. And they had Milton beside them, and then Milton got shot up. That was a funny scene where Polka Dot Man's freaking out because he's like, Milton just died, and they're like,
Milton was with us.
He was here. He's like, why was he? I thought
why
he was.
Did he stay at the truck?
I thought he stayed at the truck. He was helping us. So he was like, oh, like who's?
Harley didn't know who he was.
She's like, who's Milton? He's like, he was helping us. He was the driver. She's like, I'm pretty sure there was no Milton on the team. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think I remember Milton. That's not like a very common name.
Yeah, that's a very rare name. And then she looks and she's like,
I ever met a Milton.
Oh, that guy was Milton. Like that was that was funny. Now the weirdest bit, I didn't bother to look it up, was when King Shark was at the aquarium. And those weird fish things. I gotta look that. I don't know what the fuck that was.
Like I said, it's gotta be some deep cut.
Maybe, but that was random, but kind of interesting at the same time. King Shark's at this when they get this separated again in the building, and King Shark wanders off to this aquarium, and he sees these weird sort of somewhat jellyfish, weird Pokemon looking things. and he's playful with him, and he's running around. And
new dumb friends.
Yeah, new dumb friends is what he calls them because he wants friends, or he wants nom nom, some food, something to eat. Because he eats a lot of fucking people. He ate more people in this than I thought he would, which was pretty cool. So as the facility gets broken up because when they got distracted when Milton got shot, Polka Dot Man dropped a lot of the bombs that the C4 and stuff that he had in the bag. Then they get sidetracked. They get ambushed. They get ambushed. There we go. They get ambushed by the guards, and Polka Dot Man's pissed, and he shoots the polka dots, but some of the polka dots land on the C4 and the detonators, sets off all the bombs. Shit is all over the place. The weird fish creatures release, and they start attacking King Shark because they got razor sharp teeth and shit. Then the rest of the building is falling, and then that's when down below, when we see the creature and all the people are zombified, Peacemaker and Flag get into their fight because Flag, once it's revealed that this was all the Americans were behind this, Rick Flag is pissed off because he's like, I risk my life for this country, and they do some crazy shady shit like this. I'm going to expose it because people need to know. Then you have Peacemaker who's like, if America's doing this and they wanted a secret, it's going to stay a fucking secret. Give me the evidence. And then they get into their fight. They get separated, and he gets killed, which once again was a really good moment. I really liked what they did with Flag in this. They gave him more depth. He's a little less depressed than he was in the previous movie. And a little less depressed, and he's a little more upbeat. But I liked him, being that straight arrow, because I feel like the Suicide Squad should have at least one hero or official working with the government who's supposed to keep them on the straight and narrow. So I don't know what they're going to do for the next movie, but he's gone, and then everyone immediately meet up conveniently when Peacemaker is about to kill Ratcatcher too, because she escapes with the disc, and he's about to shoot her, and then that's when all the shenanigans from up top is when Bloodsport comes down because he survives when the place completely falls apart.
He survives 32 consecutive superhero landings.
Yeah, he does that one superhero landing, and then it goes to the next floor.
Or drops down and keep dropping out underneath of him.
Yeah, until he gets to the final floor, and then he sees Peacemaker. Then him and Peacemaker have their moment. Peacemaker's got his Desert Eagle he shoots, and then Bloodsport pulls out his little gun, and he shoots a little bullet, which goes through his bullet, which was mentioned earlier, and he hits him in the throat. And like you said, he was probably going to survive, and post-credits, yes, he does survive. So, and he's got a TV show coming, so,
Right. He only got shot in the throat, and then I think, again, I said the same thing about Rick Flag, is that, he died. He got stabbed in the heart.
He got stabbed right in the fucking heart with that piece of metal.
But you didn't see his body get destroyed, and Katana was in the last movie, and she has a sword that takes the souls.
It takes the souls of anyone that slices.
She's got my back.
She's got his back. Yes, exactly. I remember that character. Yes, I remember that character.
So with Great a character like that exists, and Mongal is in this movie, and Starro is in this movie, very easy to be like, hey, at the beginning of the next movie, they could be like, Rick Flag's back. Yeah. Give him a new heart.
Yeah, they could. They could. You're right. So that was crazy. And then, of course, the military are still fighting. And then fucking Starro the Conqueror comes in after he ripped the shit out of the Thinker and just starts wrecking shit. And the little spores attach to people's faces, which in the comics, usually when they attach to the face, once you get rid of Starro, they can detach. But in this one...
Yeah, and you're dead.
Yeah, once it attaches to your face, there's no taking it off, and you're just done. You're just a drone attached to Starro, and I kind of like how they gave a little empathy to Starro. He was like, I was just floating in space, and I was way happier until you assholes brought me here and started experimenting on me, which kind of was my idea when I low-key was like, I think they could have did Starro in the first Justice League movie if they really thought it out, kind of do some of that Grant Morrison Justice League stuff from the 90s. I think they could have made it work. Sort of Invasion of the Body Snatchers type of deal. But they did it in this one, and I thought they did a really good job. Gave enough depth. A little bit of, that line where he's like, I wish I was just floating in the stars. Yeah. And he just wrecks the town. Just full on wrecks the town. And I love that line where they wake up and they can see what's going on finally. He's like, oh, we got a kaiju in this bitch. I was like, that was funny. I thought that was funny. And that moment where it's like, well, the facility's done. The evidence is gone. As far as Amanda Waller knows, the evidence is gone. That was y'all mission, so get the fuck out of there. And the team has to, they decide to do the heroic thing and go back and try to save the town. And Amanda Waller is like, she's like snapping. She's like, you motherfuckers better turn back around. You're breaking the rules. I want to kill you sons of bitches. She's about to blow up Bloodsport's head, and then bam, she got whacked in the back of the head with the golf club, because her staff like stands up to her, which I thought was cool. And they're like, fuck, we just did it. So let's just help them as much as we can.
Keep going.
Let's keep going. And I love that bit with the lady snapped on that one dude. She's like, go into the fucking satellite room, you fucking dickhead. Something like that. It was something crazy.
He's like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, he's like, yes, ma'am. Like, go to the satellite room, you fucking dickhead. I was like, oh my God. Which also reminds me, the funniest joke, I forgot to mention, the funniest joke to me in the movie was early on where Amanda Waller's bringing in the B team, and Polka Dot Man runs into Calendar Man, which is played by Sean Gunn. Is that his name?
Gunn, yeah.
Yeah, Sean Gunn was James Gunn's brother, which he was going to be he was Weasel motion cap, but you knew he was going to have a live action scene, and that was his scene where he was Calendar Man with the fucking dates on his forehead tattooed, and he sees Polka Dot Man. But both of these are like the lamest Batman villains.
He's like, hey, Polka Dot Man, you pussy.
Yeah, wait, Polka Dot Man, you fucking pussy. I was like, what? That cracked me the fuck up when that happened. I was like, wait, is that Calendar Man? That shit cracked me up. That was the funniest bit to me in that entire fucking movie. But
you know what? I think they did Calendar Man wrong.
Yes, apparently.
I feel like they could have gone into his backstory a little bit. Could have brought in Ben Affleck for a flashback.
Yeah, maybe. I saw apparently some idiots on Twitter was making that bullshit. Whatever.
Right.
Yeah, get over it. The long history and prestige of Calendar Man. You don't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, really. I mean, we're sort of isn't The Batman going to be like a long Halloween movie, basically?
Allegedly.
So there's still room.
There's still time.
Introduce. Yeah.
There's still time. So yeah, they go back to fight Starro, and that's when everyone has their hero moments. What was it? King Shark starts biting on him. Polka Dot Man hits it with the acid, and then
burns off part of his leg, and then gets squashed immediately.
Harley Quinn still has javelins. She's like, I know what to do with it, which is pretty obvious what she's going to do with it. So she goes up to the top, to the high point. Bloodsport's using his gadgets as much as he can, then he just runs out of shit. And then the MVP of the team comes in and saves the fucking day. Ratcatcher 2 with her rat control device. And he's like, Starro's like, this is my country. And she's like, no, this is their country. And all these millions of rats just come out of this swarm.
Swarming the streets.
They crawl over her and Bloodsport, who once again has a fear of rats because his dad locked him in a box with starving rats when he was a kid when he was trying to punish him. So he's freaking the fuck out, but, Ratcatcher's, consoling him or whatever. All these rats start crawling up on Starro's body and start biting them and getting into, like, its crevices and starts biting them. Harley's on the high point. She runs, stabs him, but really just dives into his eye because it's so big. And so she's there. This is pretty gross. My whole time, I was just sitting there like... Like, that was my face the whole time. So she's floating in the eye fluid, and then the rats come in, and then you see the rats floating in the eye fluid. Then they go to, like, the various nerves or whatever, and they start biting. and there's all this blood, and then the whole thing just fills up red, and then eventually Starro's just like, fuck, and he's done because they didn't ate him from they just ate him from the inside. Now I'm gonna kind of call bullshit because it's like Starro is like a super powerful character. The fact that he just gets beaten by rats is a bit ridiculous, but then again, it is a fucking starfish monster, so I'm gonna let it ride. Right. The way they in this interpretation, it works. Because that was my whole thing. I'm like, how the fuck are they gonna stop Starro? But it worked within the context of the film. So yeah, he's done, and the day is saved. The Suicide Squad, I guess, it kind of looked as heroes, although they don't mention them as the Suicide Squad, but they do get some press. You know, right. Like they're
they said like escaped convicts.
Did they say that?
Yeah, something along the line.
Because I remember the context. Okay, because I remember the news thing had. Yeah, I guess that would make sense because they're all criminals. But the news had like metahumans versus alien invasion or some shit like that, and they go back to. Well, actually, no, they don't go back to prison.
Before they're left alive at the end of the movie.
Yeah, we got Bloodsport, Harley, Ratcatcher 2,
or is it 5?
Well, yes, it is 5. But what's his name? King Shark Allah. What was his name? I forget King Shark's actual name, but they didn't really call him King Shark that much.
Yeah, Nanawe.
Yeah, Nanawe, which I kind of thought was cool that they kept calling him that. Because they don't really say if he's mystical or if he's like a lab experiment. I like how they weren't too sure. Which I thought it was funny how like
didn't matter, I guess.
It didn't matter either, but no, I like how most of the time they were like, is this person this or that? Like they don't really know that much about them, but it's like put them on the team.
They don't do their research at all.
At all. At all. So you want to join up? Sure. Come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is very ragtag. So Bloodsport tells them like, hey, we have this, I still have the evidence. If you don't want to expose, it's on the server. If I end up dead, or if any of us ends up dead, or my daughter ends up in prison, it'll be released. So, this is your warning. So she lets them go. Granted, they still have the bombs in their head, so good luck. But she lets them go. So I guess we're going to get a new team if they do a third movie. Or if they just happen to get captured again, maybe they'll bring them back.
I'm sure Harley will be there.
Oh, yeah, Harley will definitely be back. And that was basically the end of the movie. This day is saved. Ratcatcher 2, we see a memory of her and her dad. And you were right, it was Taika Waititi playing her dad. The first time they showed him, you was like, that guy looks like Taika Waititi. I was like, yeah, he kind of does.
It does kind of look like Taika Waititi. It
kind of looks like Taika Waititi. And then we see at the end, like, oh, wait, no, that is Taika Waititi.
Oh, no, that's definitely Taika Waititi.
That's definitely Taika Waititi. Which was a nice cameo. They also had, what's her name? Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy was in it. She was a dancer. There was some other cameos. I don't remember the others.
Palm
something. I know, I don't remember her name, but Palm something. She plays
Clementif. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but
let's go with that. She was in the movie. What was another thing? Anyway, so the movie over. Peacemaker survived. Great film. I loved it. Fucking great.
Yeah. Really. And Weasel.
Oh, that's right. And Weasel survived too. They thought he was dead, but apparently he coughed up the water and he just runs away.
Some indeterminate amount of time later.
Right.
Could have been the 3 days that passed and he somehow came back.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it was probably like a couple minutes after everyone else died. Yeah, he just survived. But yeah, fun film. Hopefully they'll do another one. Hopefully James Gunn will be back for the next one because it's definitely going to be a little hard to follow this one. Yeah, to follow this one without James Gunn. I'm just saying. Like if they were like, fuck it, let's bring Air back. I'm like, don't do that one.
I don't think Warner Brothers would bring Ayer back, if only because of the Snyder stuff. They're like, fuck no, never again.
Yeah, that's true.
Like ever again going back to anybody who has ever come out and said like, well, we didn't get our cut.
Yeah, that's true.
They're like, all right, well, you never will now.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. This is not a reboot. Surprise, because there was talk that it might be a reboot, but no, this is a straight up sequel.
Right. I mean, it's a sort of a soft reboot in the sense that like there are definitely major continuity errors between this movie and the last one,
Like what?
Amanda Waller's whole setup is completely different.
Yeah.
It's a lot smaller. I mean, and again, this is nitpicking, obviously, but just the technology from the first one compared to the second one.
Okay,
like
yeah.
she just has the little switches and the buttons as opposed to like
The iPad thing, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I mean,
The cell
and
phone
obviously
app.
it's smaller. It looks like they're in just a little office building. She has a teeny tiny little
Yeah.
off to the side.
She has more of an actual team as opposed to mainly her, kind of,
Right.
and then there's some other random people.
Like a very soft reboot in the sense that like clearly they wanted to change the way things work for her specifically.
Yeah.
Because everything else kind of ties in more or less the same.
Yep. Although it's funny, they didn't make any hard references to the previous movie. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Nothing other than Harley Quinn and Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, just being friendly.
You're like, how did they got you again?
Yeah.
I feel like she was like, I got road rage in a bank.
Oh yeah, that was good. They had, like I said, that's some funny shit. I would love to see if they do another one. What other crazy ass villains Gunn would pick to be on the team? Because I would be fine with him just bringing a whole new team. Don't even bring back the ones that survived. Don't even bother bringing them back. Just do a whole new team. Maybe just bring back Harley. To have that connective tissue. That's just me.
I think that's that.
Yeah. Now, here's another thing we didn't get to talk about. And what we did talk about a little bit after the film. After watching this, I would be fine with Will Smith not coming back. I don't think he would be necessary.
I didn't miss him, but I'll be honest, I don't like him that much in the last film.
Right.
Like I think he's fine. I mean, he's Will Smith.
Yeah, he's Will Smith. Yeah, he was fine in the role, but
he's Will Smith. He's more or less fine in every role he plays.
Yeah.
He's probably the best actor in that film, even though he's got some of the stupidest lines.
He does.
Like, what are we, some sort of Suicide Squad?
Yeah. I like how they kept like, yeah, I'm not joining your Suicide Squad. It's like, that's not the name. Like, it's Task Force X. Stop calling it that. This is our marketing. We are Task Force X. We are not a Suicide Squad.
Like, Suicide Squad is for the readers.
Right. It's like
not for the people in the universe.
Right. It's like we are Task Force X, all right? We gotta get that membership up, all right? Stop calling it a Suicide Squad.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he comes back, great. I mean, I'd be fine with seeing him again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe give him a better opportunity to be in a better Suicide Squad film.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool if James Gunn did a third, and then Will Smith did come back.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Right. I don't think he will. I don't think he would want to come back.
My thought was he was definitely waiting for that Ben Affleck movie to be a part of that, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Not getting that.
Not getting that. And so the future of DC right now is looking fairly good. The next one is, I think, the Batman, right? Isn't that the next one up?
Probably, and then after that, are we getting Black Adam before Shazam?
Yeah, Black Adam's before. Yeah, I think Black Adam's after. Yeah, you're right. Now that I think about it, I think Black Adam might be next, and then the Batman. I think. And then
There's probably one we're forgetting.
Yeah, I think Black Adam might be next, then the Batman, but I might be wrong on that. We might be reversed. I don't know. Anyway, hopefully they'll do a good job. Because this is a very good. This is a good upswing. Warner Brothers and DC's on a high right now. Hopefully they won't fuck it up, but I think they will, because that's kind of DC's thing. Is they'll have one movie that does really good, and then the next two will do bad, and then the next one will do really good, and then the next two will do bad. It's a very hit and miss. So
maybe the one benefit of it being pandemic times right now, though, or at least still coming off of that, is that while I think if we weren't in a pandemic, this movie would probably do fantastic.
This movie probably would have did $1 billion.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
And if it did do $1 billion in theaters, I think they'd probably go and do some reshoots for Shazam and Black Adam to be like, Gotta do a little bit more like that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
They are a little reactive.
That's what I'd say. They are very reactionary. I don't know. Sometimes they learn the wrong lessons and then react to that. I don't fucking know.
So maybe the benefit of it's going to do relatively well. Considering the market, I still think it's probably going to do well. But I don't think it's going to do so well that they're going to be as reactionary and be like, oh, this is what people want right now.
Yeah, maybe not.
It may not influence them to change anything about a movie that's already basically done.
Yeah.
To try and make it match, and then it's totally not going to make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, no, Wonder Woman was really good, or relatively speaking, Wonder Woman was really good, and then they were like, oh, well, we have to make Justice League like that. No.
Yeah.
And then
Justice League was bad. And then we'll do none of the things that made the first Wonder Woman good, and we'll do a second Wonder Woman, and then everyone shits on it. It's like,
right. Justice League did pretty well in the box office, actually. So let's just do that with Wonder Woman 2.
Yeah.
Copy that formula.
And we'll do none of the things that made Harley Quinn popular and do that in the movie. And then, no one liked that. Right. That didn't do well either.
Let's do it again.
God damn it. But, yeah. So, yeah, that's our thoughts on the Suicide Squad. Let us know what you thought about it in the comments. Once again, don't forget to like this and share it. Crispy Man, once again, let the people know where they can find you.
Like I said earlier, you can find me on, not Facebook. I always want to say Facebook. You cannot find me on Facebook. Don't look for me. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Everywhere, I'm Quispyman, CWISPY_MANN.
There you go. And I'm the boy BrogiNaric. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, not quite Twitch, but TikTok. That's the one. TikTok. Yeah, still growing that out. So, follow me on that stuff and stay tuned for more videos. Peace.
Go see the movie.
Go see the fucking movie. Risk it. It's worth it. It really is.
Do HBO Max if you don't want to risk it.
Or if you don't. I'm fine. I'm fine with this cast suing Warner Brothers for not getting paid. No, they no. Warner Brothers paid everybody. They were smart enough to at least pay everybody.
Right.
It hurt like a bitch, but they at least paid. They ain't trying to look like Disney. So anyway.
Right.
All right. Thanks for watching. Peace.
All right. Bye.